Hello and welcome to the next episode of the CPP Community Cast. My name is Jesus Avalos, and I'm a learning and development consultant here at Cal Poly Pomona. And
hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Handy, but please feel free to call me Andy. And I, too, am a learning and development consultant here at Cal Poly Pomona.
Hey everyone, my name is Miguel Urrutia, and I am a visual media analyst. And nice to meet everyone. See you again. Nice to see everyone again.
I love it when you don't remember what your title is.
Right.
What do I
I'm still
do?
working on it.
I think sometimes our titles don't fully encompass everything that we really do.
True.
Yeah, right. I'm calling Miguel a big baller shot caller. That needs to go on your business card, Miguel.
All right.
All right, and I am Brian Taylor. I'm a talent advisor in talent acquisition and diversity outreach.
And we are so happy to have you for this. This is actually our first official episode of the podcast. So thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you. And I wanted to start off this episode with just a personal story. So we're recording this in coming on mid-February. And I am pleased, and I have to say a little proud to report that my New Year's resolutions are actually still going strong. I had a slate of them. I've been yeah, right? What? It's roof. So I've still been meditating, which is something I've been doing. I've been drinking a ton of water, which gets a little awkward in the middle of meetings because you're drinking a ton of water and you take more breaks. But that is another story for another day. So I've been really good, knock on wood, with my resolutions. And I was curious to see how you all are doing with your resolutions, everybody.
It's funny you bring that up because I was actually trying to do the water challenge, like drinking like 8 cups a day, and then I think I kind of stopped doing it.
Fell by the wayside. How long did it? Well, actually, and another question go along with it. Do you believe in resolutions? Because there are some people that just say, I don't do resolutions anymore. So I'm curious. So I'm guessing you believe in them, Miguel, but didn't last as long as you'd like?
Yeah, fortunately.
Although you can't get back on the horse, I'm just saying, Miguel, so you can start again tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll try that.
That's what's so great about resolutions. So I don't necessarily do resolutions, but
Okay.
I do recommitments. So that way, if it comes to a point where I might struggle or feel like I'm failing, I have the opportunity to just restart again. And so one of the challenges that I've had with the remote work was just not moving at all. And I bought myself an Apple Watch, and in the first 2 months, I wanted to throw it across the room because it kept saying you haven't moved. And I'm like, So
Yes.
I got myself a stationary bike, but that broke shortly after. And so
No.
yeah. So my goal was to move every day, at least 30 minutes. And so the bikes went super crazy high, right? When everybody was buying them. So this bike that's normally $80 is now $300. And I am glad to say I found a bike for a really great price. And I have been on it every single day for the last month. And prior to that, have done at least 1 to 2 miles every single day as well. So I'm just really happy to get up and get moving. So
Well done.
Congrats, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Congrats.
I appreciate the support.
I was clapping at the fact that you got a great deal on the bike, but
You know what?
is even
I don't
a
blame you.
bonus, right?
I hope other people are clapping with me. And if you want to take a look, $98 on Walmart, not that I'm promoting it whatsoever, but it is a good deal.
Yes.
Yeah,
As is the time of this recording.
I know, right? That's true.
All right,
Yeah,
Brian, what about you?
I recently bought a stationary bike, and they are way too expensive. So I know what you mean. Yeah, and I think I do believe in resolutions, but kind of like Andy, sometimes they fall by the wayside, and you got to recommit to them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think even though we were in quarantine for a lot of last year, I actually reached a lot of my goals, which I'm kind of excited about. And as of last week, I paid off my last credit card. So
Whoa.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Wow, that deserves a round of applause too. So what, you splurged by going out and spending money on your credit card, buying yourself some gifts?
Well, actually, it was maxed out, so they closed the account. So now that it's paid off, I can't use it anymore.
Oh, that's
man.
perfect. You don't
Yeah,
even have
so-
a temptation.
Exactly. So either I have money in my debit account or I don't have any money. So
That
I like it.
See, it's amazing when sometimes life puts you in a position where you have no other choice but to make the right decision.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
I thought you were going to tell us you got a new credit card to buy your stationary bike.
You know, I thought about it, but there's a fee that comes with the new credit card, and so
Nope.
I was like,
Forget that.
Yeah. Good
It doesn't
for
feel
you,
right.
Ryan. Wow. So hopefully all of you that are listening or watching have either recommitted or you feel good about where you are, but we're very glad to have you with us, as I've said before. So what we'd like to do now is just share some updates, things that are going on that we want to make sure that you're aware of. So I think, Miguel, you're going to tell us about Cal Connect just a little bit. Is that right?
Right. And
So what
for
is
Cal
Cal
Connect,
Connect? And
so what Cal Connect is a website where we could view our W-2 forms, our deposits, or how we have currently direct deposit.
Yeah.
It's a good website for you to check out, especially now that tax season. If you go to the payroll website, so CPP payroll, there is a form on the right side of it where you could access a PDF on, and it'll explain everything and the steps and how to log into Cal Connect.
Ooh, nice. So you can see all your paychecks and you can get your W-2 forms. It is so amazing. I don't even want to tell you all how it was when I first started working. Your W-2s are chiseled in stone, and it was just horribly inefficient. So it's so nice. Everything's so convenient nowadays. So very cool. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miguel.
Well, and that works really well for me because usually I do my taxes on like April 14th, maybe 15th. It depends. So I'm excited that I can access it online.
Yeah, absolutely. Very cool. So thank you, Miguel, for sharing that. And yeah, if you haven't checked it out, I've had a chance to take a look at Cal Connect, the website. It's super easy to navigate. So hopefully you'll get a chance to take a look at it. And you were going to tell us about the wellness challenge as well.
Yeah, I was really excited. And it goes along with what we were talking about earlier with just moving. And so many people at Cal Poly Pomona did great in the wellness challenge, by the way. It was called Coast to Coast Wellness. And we did great in terms of tracking our movements and collaborating with one another. And they had a really cool kind of a wall where people can post their pictures of what they were doing and where they were going. So it was great to learn of new hikes. So that was a lot of fun. And it really allowed us to see how much we were or weren't moving throughout the day. And so I've been partnering with the benefits team to kind of continue that effort. So the Coast to Coast Challenge has ended, but benefits is doing something really cool where they've been asked to create a wellness series throughout the year for all of Cal Poly Pomona. And it's so much fun. So right now they're doing a Move It with Benefits. So every week for 15 minutes at noon, you can log on to them at Zoom, with Zoom, and they'll send out an email to staff so that you can actually join and know when it's taking place.
So be on the lookout for the email.
Be on the lookout for the email because it's going to be continuous and the focus will change. So this week it's all about stretching. And it's absolutely amazing. I don't know, Brian, have you been on it? On the stretching one?
I was able to go to the first
I was on the stretching one, yeah.
Wasn't it amazing? It just taking the opportunity for 15 minutes to focus on yourself and really if you're focusing on you, it gives you the opportunity to be at your best for others or the people that you help to serve. And so in March, from what I understand, it's going to be kind of some basketball fun and maybe some other items. And then in April, they've asked me to do line dancing in April. So I will be doing the line dancing every week. I know. So if you like country, I love it. I'm excited. So if you like country music, or if you don't, please join.
Whether you like it or you don't, just join.
Just come. And it's just a fun way. I've met so many people already through doing it. So it's be a lookout for the email. Even if you're not sure, just you can check it out and see if it's something that you'd be interested in doing. So I'll look forward to seeing you guys there.
Great. So, hey, Cal Connect, you can go ahead and see how much you're getting paid. With the wellness challenge, you can take care of your body and by extension, honestly, your mental health as well, because they're both tied together. So that's great. And I'm excited to announce that Cal Poly Pomona is going to be participating in a program called Great Colleges to Work For. And that is a workplace recognition program that's been in existence for about 13 years, and about 4,000 schools have participated. This is Cal Poly's first year. And the way that it works is starting in March, I believe it'll be the 15th, 600 randomly selected faculty and staff members will be receiving an email with an invitation to take a survey. And it'll really give us as an institution a chance to get an idea of what we're doing well and where we can improve in terms of providing an environment for people to thrive and employee engagement. So it's going to be a great opportunity for, if you happen to be one of the 600 who's randomly selected, for you to share your insights. But even if you're not, after we get the results back, because the survey goes from, I believe it's March 15th to April 9th, I believe that's the period. And then we get results back from the survey. I think it's late July, early August, at which point we're going to be putting together a task force and analyzing the results and starting to put together action plans. So the point is, not only are we asking for our staff and faculty's feedback in terms of how we're doing, creating an environment that's really beneficial for everyone, but in addition, we're going to take that feedback and put it into practice. So we're going to be getting the word out about the survey, but also when we get the results back, and what we're going to be doing with the results, putting together action plans, and then everybody in the community from a faculty and staff perspective will have a chance to participate in the program, putting the ideas into place. So if you want to get involved, like Andy said, be on the lookout, because there will be emails communicating when the survey is coming out and when we're starting to get the results and when we start crunching all of that information. So I just wanted to put it out there that this is going to be a great program, and we hope that you support it and you participate in any way that you feel comfortable. So this is just another opportunity for us to really engage with each other and help make this a community that we can all really feel good about. So with that being said, look for details to come, but we're really excited about it. So next thing we want to talk about, I believe, Brian, you were going to tell us about Page Up. So what is Page Up, and what do we need to know?
All right, well, that's a good question. So I currently work in talent acquisition and diversity outreach. I'm a talent advisor. And so what that means is I handle all the recruiting on campus along with 2 other people on my team. And so what we do is we hire all the staff. And so that starts from the beginning of the process where the candidate applies. We work as a campus partner with managers on campus, and we work to get that person onboarded in their position. And so what we're doing is PageUp is a system that's being disseminated through the chancellor's office. So we're one of 23 campuses actually going through this process of implementing on campus, and we are the 4th out of the 5th wave. So there's a lot of campuses who have already actually implemented PageUp, and so that gives us a lot of insight as to how we can best move forward. So I think that's really cool. So on campus, PageUp, we're going to be using as a recruiting system to replace our old recruiting system, PeopleSoft. And so what that means is the applicants that are applying, the managers that we're working with, all the way up to the president's office, and the way we approve all of our paperwork is all going to change. And so I think it's an awesome addition that we have, and it's really changing our department. It's a complete 180. And so I think the best part is that we currently have a lot of antiquated processes. A lot of things are paper heavy. And so what this means for the candidate is that it's going to be way easier for you to apply. You can pull the job up on your phone. You can apply through LinkedIn or Indeed, which are not services that we currently have. And then on the manager side, when we're working with them as partners, we really have the opportunity to see exactly what they see. And so currently we don't have a system that we can send them applications through. And so this is going to be that. It'll allow us to essentially review the applicant, send them directly to the manager, and the manager can go through their process in the system. So there's a lot of things that are going to be changing, a lot of updates that are going to be, we'll be sharing with the campus. But as of right now, we have our first test group. We're using facilities planning and management, And so in the month of February, each week we're going to be going through training sessions with them, kind of demoing different parts of our system, what they can look forward to, how it's going to seamlessly make the approval process easier. And so hopefully, after February, we'll have a little bit more insight from our side as well as some of our campus partners so we can, best serve the campus as a whole. So I think as of right now, in the coming months, we'll be going live with this system. We don't have a date as of yet, but we will be, going live soon, pushing it out to the campus, sharing it with all the departments and managers. So I'm pretty excited.
Wow, great. I mean, we've got Cal Connect, we've got Page Up. It seems like we're just trying to move further into the 21st century and make processes easier for everybody, whether it be applicants or leaders who are posting jobs. So that's really exciting. So thank you for sharing that, Brian. And Miguel, I know you also wanted to tell us a little bit about our newsletter, right?
Right. And for the newsletter this month, we'll be covering topics such as the tech tips, which we released. We started one last month, and this month is going to be about like how to use Windows 10 shortcuts. We're also going to have an introduction video for some of our EOD HR ops department and specifically customer service. So make sure you look out for that video on YouTube.
Very cool.
Nice. Do you know when the newsletter is going to be coming out?
Should be coming out from we're now like mid-February, so hopefully by Friday of this Friday the 12th. I was gonna say from this recording, like in a few days after our
Yeah. So if you're seeing this recording in 2040, then the newsletter has already come out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Just to clarify. But if you haven't seen the newsletter and if you're not familiar, EODA HR Ops is our department. I probably should have said that at the outset. I'm surprised that nobody stopped me, but EODA stands for Employee and Organizational Development and Advancement in HR Operations. That is our department, but our name is in flux. But that's what we go by. And our newsletter is just chock full of tons of really useful and pertinent information regarding resources available to his employee, which you'll notice that's the theme that we've been talking about for the past few minutes is resources available to you. So it's a great resource. So be on the lookout for that as well, coming in your email into your inbox. So the next thing that I wanted to do, as we're shifting gears a little bit, is we've got a segment that we're going to be having in every one of our episodes, and that is our Cool Campus video segment, where we show a video that we think is, as the name implies, really cool, and it'll have something to do, it'll have some kind of connection to CPP, and we're going to just kind of share our thoughts about it, and hopefully you'll find the video interesting. So I'd like to hand it over to Miguel so you can introduce the video for us. Miguel, go ahead.
All right, and let me share my screen real quick. So the video for today, for this month, is going to be is for the CPP Mariachi are in campus. So they made a cool video that was launched last month, January 20th. And yeah, so I'm going to play it right now and see what you guys think.
Allá atrás de la montaña, donde temprano se oculta el sol, quedó mi ranchito triste y abandonada y a mi labor. Allí me pasé los años. Allí encontré mi primera
was really nice. And
Wow.
right?
I'm
And
impressed.
are they
Wow.
students? I think they are, right? We've got a faculty member and the rest are students, or am I mistaken? Miguel, do you know?
Yes, I actually met one of them when I was still a student assistant in campus. Her name is Brenda. Yeah,
She's
yeah,
a
she was
singer,
telling me
right?
about her story and how she was she used to sing well she was I think she came on the news one time too, like a segment. So she's pretty, she's pretty out there about you know, public.
How impressive, and what great ambassadors they are for
Yeah.
the campus. I grew up with mariachi music, so I certainly have a soft spot in my heart for that. But wow, how impressive is that? And was it near? Were they filming in the mansion, the Kellogg mansion up on the hill? I'm wondering if they didn't film it there because I could have sworn some of that looked
No,
familiar.
but that video was legit, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
It
right?
was. I think
Dang.
I
Yeah,
think the best part about music is that even if you don't understand what they're saying, you can feel it. And I think the the better part about music is that, even though I don't know what they're saying, there's a meaning behind that. There's a
yeah.
meaning behind what they're saying, and it's not just that it sounds good. It's part of their culture. It's a part of who they are. Like you said, you grew up with this. I think it's beautiful to see the Cal Poly students are really like taking charge of that and making beautiful content.
Yeah,
Well,
it's oh,
and
go
what I
ahead,
love
Andy.
too is, no, sorry, Jesus, is not just the singer, but the talented musicians in the back of the instruments. Because we had somebody with a flute, we had somebody. Is that a violin? Is that what
Yeah,
it's called?
hmm
Okay.
hmm
And then the trumpet. Oh my gosh, that was
yeah,
absolutely amazing. And mariachi is so beautiful. I agree. It's so amazing, and being able to see and see them play, and the quality, it's so pure because you don't have
yeah.
a lot of different technology like messing with voices or the sounds of the instruments. And it's just a really it's a pure art, so I can appreciate that very much.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, man, that was legit music. So
Yeah.
well done. Very good selection. Yeah, I'm giving that my Siskel and Ebert 2 thumbs up for that video for sure. Right? Yeah, that's thumbs up all the way around.
Well, and let's tell
Thank you for
Brenda
sharing
that they
that.
yeah, let's tell Brenda that they were awesome. So if you speak to her still, or hopefully at some point the people in it will watch this, and you
Yeah,
guys,
hopefully.
we're talking to you. You guys are amazing. Great job.
Amazing.
We love it. All right, well, I have a question for you guys.
Mm.
Yeah.
In March 2020, a lot of things changed for everybody, and
You
the
really
world.
did something? What happened? Did something happen in March 20th?
I'm not sure. Hopefully,
That's my sarcastic voice.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
But I did want to see how you feel that the change overall on campus and within your life. How do you feel change has affected you? Mentally, physically, psychologically. What do you think has changed the most for you guys, or how do you feel you've changed for the better, or maybe even the worse?
Man, why do you have to get so deep, Brian?
You know
That's
what's
my
interesting?
job.
I just posted something on Facebook yesterday because it's so interesting. 2020, it's been very difficult, and honoring all of that for everyone, because we've all had some form of struggle, and these struggles actually forced me into some big changes in my life. And what I didn't know would actually be some positive changes. And so I sold my home so that I can be closer to my family and friends, because I can't see them, and just feeling that closeness of being near them made me feel better. And so I ended up moving to a place that I never thought I'd be, in a city that I love. And honestly, I found this career at Cal Poly in the midst of all of that as well. And so I thought that I was doing really well, but lately it's been a struggle again, because as we have a rise in cases, and we have a lot of things going on campus, that sometimes it's that roller coaster of emotions, where if we feel like everything's going fine, and all of a sudden we hit this road bump. And so I feel like being able to talk about it with my colleagues and my friends is really helpful, but there's still challenge there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so many things have changed, right? I mean, we think about our work routine and our social routines and just everything. And of course, I think all of us know people who've gotten sick, and there are people who have lost loved ones. I mean, just so many challenges. And even in the midst of that, there have been some things to be grateful for. I'm spending more time with my kids, and I'm able to really connect with them, because the way that it is sometimes you leave in the morning and you come home in the evening, and if you do have kids, you're tucking them in at night and you don't really get a chance to see them, and time passes really fast. So I'm grateful for that. But I'll tell you what, at the end of this past year, I really hit a wall. I thought I was doing okay with remote work, and then I just realized I was really struggling. And I was grateful for the time to catch my breath over the holidays. But yeah, it's been, obviously everybody who's listening knows this has been like nothing that we've ever experienced. And I'm grateful for some opportunities that I've had to talk through some of these challenges and really just work through them. I don't know, Miguel, what your thoughts are about this.
Definitely. And for me, it was a bit more of kind of changing pace again, since we used to, to talk to our colleagues, and now like being remote work, I feel like there's been less communication, kind of like that interpersonal reaction, which I really miss a lot, saying hi to everyone in campus. And yeah, it's, I feel like if people don't really connect as much, or like make an effort of, connecting, like, either messaging or anything, it like feels like so like more little by little, you start losing that connection that you didn't have in campus. But I definitely felt the impact there too. And especially with work, like there are some times where, like, I guess sometimes there's more things to work on with now that, but we're juggling with more tasks than we used to. And definitely feeling
More
it.
tasks in less time, right?
It's so true.
Yeah.
I can tell you that once everything is better, we're out in the world again. I'm gonna be walking around with one of those free hugs t-shirts. And people are gonna be like, "Get away!" I'm like, "Just bring it in," Because just, like you said, Miguel, being around people is gonna be so amazing, and I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, thank you guys all for sharing. I really appreciate it, because it seems like a lot of common themes, or it's been difficult, but staying close to the people who are grounding you is what's most important right now, and I think that's important. And that leads me into a great segue. We're actually going to bring on a guest, Dr. Crystal Miller. So she focuses on the psychological effects of transition and how that affects you. And so what we've been doing is, Andy and Jesus and their team have been working with Crystal Miller actually in the EEP program on campus. And so they've been working with departments to, focus on the transition of each employee and how they can come back together as a team, even though, the psychological effects of COVID and all the changes from remote work and members of your team leaving, she's assisting with helping them stay grounded in their work and, what's most important to them. She does have some experience with organizational leadership and change management. So I think it'd be a great, I think she'd have some great info to share for you guys and for the campus as a whole. So
Wonderful. Well, thanks for that introduction, Brian. So let's go ahead, everybody, let's go ahead and bring Dr. Miller. Let's bring Crystal on. Sound good?
Yes, let's do it.
Great.
All right. Well, welcome back, even though it was only about a second, but we're really excited. Through the magic of technology, now we suddenly have Dr. Crystal Miller with us. So thank you, Dr. Miller. Or would you prefer Crystal or Dr. Miller? What's better?
Crystal is completely fine. Thank you for having me.
No, it is our pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. So actually, I'm going to hand it off to Andy. Andy, I know you're going to be guiding this portion of the segment. So please, if you wouldn't mind taking it away.
Thank you, Jesus, and welcome, Crystal. I'm so thankful to have you here today, and I'm excited for everyone to have the opportunity to just learn more about what it is that you do and hopefully gain some insight about change and transition. And so if you wouldn't mind just taking a moment and just giving all of our listeners and our viewers just an introduction of yourself.
Sure, absolutely. So I am an executive coach, and my focus is on inclusive leadership. It's a field of study that I work with specifically in the community within the university system. I am also faculty at San Diego State, and I teach organizational behavior and management. And I am an inclusive leadership expert for Bias Sync, which is an IAT, an implicit bias test technology firm. So I've been working with Pomona for years now. Prior to my executive coaching role, I was the director of leadership for the California State University system. So I have a long relationship and invested interest here, being back in the CSU. And I'm helping not only with the change and transition that is occurring all over in our climate and culture, but specifically also with the employee early exit programs.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And I know for our viewers and listeners, they come from diverse backgrounds. Some of them might be also staff or faculty or even community members. And so I really would like to speak to change and transition, from all perspectives and viewpoints. And so, as you know, that we've been working with the early exit program, but the approach that you give is really from a holistic view and talking about personal challenges as well as potentially career challenges. And so I wanted to ask you, what might be some of the signs that people might see if someone is going through or struggling with change or transition?
Absolutely. Certainly, while there's many different ways that we can experience transition, our brains don't really separate it out for us. And so there's a couple of different levels that an individual might experience. One being the emotional aspect. So you might notice fear, anxiety, eagerness. It's not always negatively aspected. Sometimes there's excitement. There's kind of this elevation, if you will, heightened sensitivity towards just your environment, those around you, and it doesn't necessarily have to be negative. Additionally, our bodies hold a lot of knowledge and awareness, and we're not always tuned into them, but things that you might experience include an increase in your blood pressure, muscle tension, back pain, different patterns in your sleep or eating habits. All can manifest when you're experiencing change.
Wow, that's a lot of different feelings or just different possibilities of like the aches and the pains and non-sleeping that we might not necessarily consider because we feel like it might be a normal part of our day or routine.
And I have to share, Andy, I'm sorry to jump in.
No, you're good.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, Crystal, because I was just listening to, I guess it's a brief podcast. Here's my shameless plug. It's called Darren Daily. And it's Darren Hardy, who used to publish a magazine called Success, which I love. But every morning he gives a really bite-sized tip of the day. And he was talking about stress. And he said, stress isn't necessarily bad. Distress is bad, but there's something called eustress, which is good. And whether something is distressful or eustressful is really based on how you perceive it to a certain extent. For some people, starting a new job would be distressful. For other people, it's eustressful. And so it speaks to, I think, what you're talking about, just in terms of the fact that there are different responses to different ways that people can process. And I guess a fair amount of whether that's harmful or not depends on just how you're looking at things and how you're processing those changes. So I'm sorry, I just had to jump in. It totally resonated.
No, absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. It is just as you said, there's really there's two major poles really of the experience, but there's a continuum along those. So you don't always find that you're just experiencing what would be negatively aspected feelings. You might have a mixture really of any of those feelings or bodily experiences. And it's not necessarily, even if you are feeling some of that tension, anxiety, fear, grief, anger, it's not necessarily harmful. There's a lot of power in recognizing even negatively aspected emotions. And it's really what you do with those emotions that has the impact of whether or not you would consider this harmful or helpful.
That's great. Thank you, Crystal. And thank you, Jesus, for bringing that up as well. That's extremely helpful. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to look at this from a perspective of some of the conversations that we've been having with our fellow CPP colleagues. And the way that I'm going to approach this might be different. But if I was concerned, let's say, of a family member, a friend, or one of my colleagues, that perhaps their behavior is a little bit different and they might be struggling with this change or transition, as you've said, from an outsider's view, like what might I look like to see that might be a struggle and how I might be able to support them with that?
Yeah, certainly. Because you won't know always if somebody's blood pressure rises, or you don't always see if your colleagues are eating well or how much sleep they're getting. There's other, signs that we can really tune into. And these are expansive. So you might see that your colleagues are withdrawing. You might see them kind of pull back, get a little bit quieter, not seem as engaged. You might notice that they say that everything's fine, but somehow their schedules start to really fill up and they are taking on more than they're usually taking on. So that heightened sense that I was talking about, you can almost see them start to quicken their pace and really fill up. It's busyness. It's how do I keep myself busy and occupied? And it's really a form of how do I stay distracted? How do I stay in that place of denial and not really fully process what's going on in the change? So you might notice that people start to get really active, really participatory, and you might not even notice that that's a sign of somebody going through change. Additionally, there's those that you won't even notice. So it's really about tuning into differences, I say disparities in normal behavior of your loved ones, of your colleagues, of those that you care about. And so it's noticing what and how do they typically respond? How do they typically show up? And do you notice when there is a change? And usually the change signifies that there's a transition going on.
That's so true. And it actually reminds me, as you're speaking of this, of the William Bridges model. When we look at the different zones of transition and there's this curve and things that we might see as anxiety, fear, but really what's more visible would be maybe anger or quick to be frustrated, or maybe even delays or absenteeism. So I never really thought of it. They have two ends of the spectrum where you're withdrawing or you're just taking on way too much. So that's so interesting. But either way, there's some change that is being noticed.
Yes, I think that for most people, they will notice when your colleagues, your loved ones get moody, they get frustrated. It seems like whatever is present is a small context issue and problem, but they're responding in a very pronounced way compared to how maybe they would typically respond. Those are usually easy access points in change. The more nuanced, the harder to see is that everything is fine, but yeah, I'm taking on a lot, I'm getting really busy, or I'm pulling back, I'm tuning in, and I'm tuning out a little bit.
I love that term. You said disparities. Was that what you said, Crystal? Because I think
Yes.
really, yeah. So
Yeah.
like the baseline and then something deviates from that. I love that idea because what resonated with me is that idea of getting busy. And for example, I've got to clean out my garage. And right now I'm busy doing anything but out my garage because I don't want to clean out my garage. So I'm fine. I'm come on. Am I the only person who's done that before?
Oh no,
No, of course not.
That's a go-to.
Nodding his head, so apparently Miguel's never experienced that. But that totally resonates with me. That idea of disparities. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, and it's disparities across the board. You might notice, and it's not necessarily just that the person's in denial of change. It can also be an avoidance technique, right? To procrastinate just a little bit on having to really face what this change brings about. And you can have it in very small ways. So I know that a lot of employees have said, like, I will turn my browser onto something else to distract myself, right? Like I have suddenly taken on a horrible Amazon shopping habit during this pandemic. And it's an avoidance to do the work that I have to do in the moment, right? And so you will see that this really translates in a variety of different ways for individuals when they're experiencing change. So it's not always negative. It's not always anger related. It's really nuanced. And so recognizing, I say, if you're tuning into somebody when you think something is wrong, you might be too late in really recognizing the signs that they're going through. So it's important that we really tune into each other when things are good so that we can really get what you even shared, that word is baseline. So we can get a baseline on just their emotional and physical and even spiritual well-being. How do they show up as individuals in a holistic way in the workplace, and how do we respond to it?
Which almost in my mind leads to, because obviously in order for me to be able, let's say that Crystal, you and I are friends, in order for me to be able to notice those real subtle deviations, I've got to be fully present with you. So it almost is a challenge to each one of us to make sure that we're fully present in those interactions that we're having with the people that we're around. Because if I'm thinking about something I've got to do tomorrow or something I should have done yesterday, I might miss some of those really subtle deviations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So being present all of the time can be a very heavy challenge, but certainly I find that managers, supervisors will come to me and say, I have this really big change initiative that I want to roll out with my team. What do I have to pay attention to? If you haven't been paying attention prior to this big change initiative, you're already too late. You need to be paying attention and really being present with individuals, your colleagues, your loved ones before big change comes about.
Well, Crystal, it seems like what you're talking about, it seems like on the opposite end of the spectrum, there could be a lot of growth. Like, say I'm not very involved and, I've pushed my way into a lot of work because I'm avoiding things. But now this work is giving me opportunities to grow in ways that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is, there's no room for growth without a little bit of discomfort, a bit of courage, and the ability to lean into something new. So change really is the catalyst for growth and development. But it's a process to get to that place first. So there's a lot of steps that happen before we get to the actual growth and development, and how do I accept this new future, and how maybe do I even innovate in it. There's a few steps that come before, and those are the ones that I think people usually there's a couple different patterns that can happen. You can withdraw, you can get really busy, you can really disengage. I mean, there are times where people just say, that's it, I can't do it. And they leave. And then there's those that go, you know what, from the onset, I'm excited about this, I'm going to move with it. And they move rather quickly through the change cycle. And once they're actually doing the new thing or accepted the new process, there may be times where they have to, we call it like fallback. They might have to go into a little bit of fallback to catch up with some things that they might have missed in the process, because there is tangible, real loss and change. It doesn't mean that change isn't a positive, but there is always something that we are giving up. There's always a cost. And so acknowledging what the loss is, what the cost is really important for the individual and for a team going through change.
Yeah, sounds like it really, I'm so sorry, Brian. I apologize. It just seems like this is really, in order for us to be present, there has to be a certain level of self-awareness for us to even realize what's taking place in the first place. And with the people who are listening or watching, Crystal, I'm sure that there might be some feelings right now of, wow, I feel that way. Or, oh my gosh, I can't believe I might be struggling with this more than I anticipated. And so if that is the case, what might you recommend for people who are maybe having some challenges with dealing with change or transition?
Absolutely. I'd say first is evaluate where you are really in the change and transition place. And even those that are saying, everything is fine, recognize if you are in this change by yourself or if there are others that are in this change with you. Are you paying attention to them in it? Because it's not just about the singular perspective. It's also about how does the team hold each other through change. And so really evaluate, where are you at? Where is the team at? It's about slowing down just a bit, really connecting with what are your values and how are you honoring those through this process. You might need a moment to open up some self-care, and self-care can take a variety of different ways. You might find that eating healthy, getting a little bit more sleep, making sure that you're exercising, those things will help you process the change. So really taking care of your body is going to be important. You don't want to stress out about stress. So recognizing what is in your control. There are things that you cannot control, but really sitting down and saying, what can I not control? and allowing that to let go. But what can I control? And some things that you can really control is about, one, being present, two, recognizing what your values are and how you can honor those in the moment. Three, really focusing on what your perspective is. If you are in that perspective of, oh, this is happening to me, I feel stuck, I feel static, I feel like this is overwhelming, I can't do it, I don't have enough resources. How do you shift that perspective into one that's empowering? Resilience and grit are so critical to getting through change. And resilience, we know, it can be genetic to some extent, but you also have a lot of intention and environmental context factors that can help you build your ability to be more resilient through change. And so, don't accept just change as this daunting process. You have to acknowledge what your loss is in the past, but you ultimately also have to empower yourself for the future. And so I would say seek out help. If you need additional resources, thinking about getting a coach, a therapist, a mentor, reaching out to your learning department and seeing what are the resources, technical skills that you can gain to really help yourself in change and transition is all going to help you process this a little bit more.
Thank you, Crystal. And even just hearing this, and I've had the opportunity to be in some sessions with Crystal, and I can tell you every single time I learn something new. And so I do appreciate all of your thoughtfulness and sharing your time. I do want to have an opportunity to kind of transition to some lighthearted activities that we'd like you to participate with, Crystal. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it back over to Jesus to move us to the next activity.
Awesome. Thank you, Andy. So, Crystal, now we get to the nitty gritty. So this is the section or the part of the discussion where we get into tips, tricks, hacks. So, and it can be related to what we've talked about, or it can be completely unrelated because we know that you're a multifaceted person. So for all we know, you might have some hidden talents and skills. What is a tip, a trick, a hack, something that you think would be beneficial for all of our listeners and viewers to know?
What I'm hearing from so many people is just exhaustion during these virtual meetings. And I would say it's about getting creative, right? It's about creating creative. And you don't have to take 15 minutes to do something fun with your team or somebody, or if you're meeting with a typical committee, right? You can do things that are quick, easy workaround. So I'm going to give you two because they're quick. The first is that we know based on neuroscience that concept of get your creative juices flowing, it's real. And so if you're sitting all day long, you are going to experience writer's block, creative block. It's going to happen. And so there's 6 movements to your spine. If you do them, it actually increases the spinal column fluid to move up to your brainstem and re-energize you. So here are the movements that I would invite all of you to try. It takes less than 30 seconds. One is extension. So you're just going to actually create a little arc in towards your back body. And then flexion, which just invites you to lean forward. And then as you come back up, if you just turn to your right, so it's a gentle twist, turn to your left, gentle twist, and then it's lateral on either side. So it's just a bend over towards your right or left, and then on the opposite side. And you can do these seated, but I would really encourage you, get up and move. It takes less than 30 seconds, and it actually re-energizes your brain. The other one that I want to share with you, and I'm going to invite all of you to do it here with me too, is turn off your cameras.
Okay, hold on.
And I say it's important to just let your silliness ride out and just get the energy going. So for 15 seconds, have a little bit of a dance party. And it can be a blind dance party so that no one has to feel nervous. So So you
You're
just
getting to the best part, Crystal. I was about to get
you're about to get in the groove? Great.
Yes.
Well, on your team, the challenge then is to do it for a minute. Do it for a minute. Turn your cameras off, and everybody can take a turn. Bring your own tunes in and have a blind virtual dance party. No one has to be embarrassed. It's in the safety of your own home, and just have some fun. Shake it up.
That was great. So we asked for one tip, trick, or hack, and we got two for the price of one. So that's
and I can tell you, I'm in a great mood right now. I got to dance a little bit today, and my spinal fluid is all up in my brain. I'm feeling great. We should have done this before the interview.
Yeah, exactly. And I was tired. I was about to pass out. Chris started talking, and then it's the power of suggestion. Crystal started talking, and then she said, "You're tired, Jesus."
I was gonna say, kind of like what Ethan does, right, in our meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we have a colleague who has a 1-year-old son, and he loves to play peekaboo. So we're always doing it. But that was great. I loved that. I never thought of 15 seconds, but I guess even in small snippets, it can have an impact, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that was wonderful. Thank you, Crystal. And yes, I would have chosen Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. I have totally dated myself, but that's just me. Can't go wrong with a little disco. But we're not done with you yet, Crystal. The pièce de résistance is our lightning round. Brian, are you going to take this away for us?
Yes, I will. So first, Crystal, I'll kind of explain the rules here.
Okay.
And so I have a series of 15 questions. And so what I'm going to do is ask them, and I'm going to ask you to reply within 3 seconds. And so we want what's on the top of your mind, what's your first instinct. I don't want you, thinking about it, coming up with a better answer. We want to know how you feel right now. So okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm nervous now. Man, Brian, it's like, no pressure.
All right, Crystal. So work from home or in the office?
Home.
All right, early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Dream travel spot?
Machu Picchu.
Ooh, okay. That's interesting. All right, Crystal Miller is?
Awesome.
I like it. All right, what is your favorite childhood cartoon?
Oh, Gummy Bears. Throwback.
Biggest influence?
Probably Brene Brown.
Oh, okay. All right, one book you've read that you'll never forget.
Oh, Ego Development.
Oh, I'm going to have to check that out. Do you know who the author is?
Eric Erickson.
Okay, all right. Favorite carb?
I just went gluten-free, but I am a killer for a baguette.
Okay, I love bread. All right, most thrilling experience?
My most thrilling experience? I've gone bungee jumping like 50 times, probably.
Oh, wow. Have you ever been skydiving?
I have. And I'm a certified scuba diver. I am like an adrenaline junkie. That is a fun fact.
Crystal, I think you've done everything, honestly. All right, country or city?
City.
Okay. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate, or white chocolate?
Dark chocolate.
Yes, good answer. All right, what temperature do you like your thermostat set to?
74.
Okay, it's a little hot, but okay.
I like hot.
It's a safe space, Brian. No judgment calls.
I know. I just don't want to get sweaty. All right, spend or save?
Save.
Okay, favorite holiday?
4th of July.
Okay, I like it. All right, and sweet or salty?
Sweet or salty? I'm going salty.
Okay, I like it. So that's all the questions I had for you. I feel like that gives us a good, picture into who Crystal is. Because Crystal Miller is awesome.
Wrestling alligators and Eric Erickson, Machu Picchu while eating a baguette. We know all about you now.
A gluten-free baguette, though.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us, Crystal, on behalf not only of all of us, but also all of our listeners and viewers. The insights you shared with us were, I think, just really beneficial for everybody. And so we really appreciate you joining us. Andy or Miguel, Brian, anything you want to say before we sign off for this episode?
No, I just want to say thank you, Crystal. I appreciate all the insight. Hope to be in one of those sessions soon.
Yes, thank you. It was so much fun. I enjoyed it.
Yes, thank you, Crystal. We appreciate you.
Hey, Crystal.
And
Thanks, everyone.
thank you all for tuning in. Is that a dated term, tune in? You don't tune into a podcast.
You can tune in.
Can
Yes.
you tune into a podcast? Well, I'm going to defer to Crystal. Crystal, can you tune into a podcast?
I don't know if you can, but I think it's listen in now.
All right, there you go. Thank you for listening in. But then again, I listen to Saturday Night Fever, so I'm going to say tune in. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to having you for a future episode. So again, thank you, Crystal, and we look forward to that next time that we get a chance to catch up. So until then, keep learning, keep growing, keep thriving. Take care, everybody. Bye.